Okay, so let's just go a little bit deeper on the launch lists and lists in general and response rates and that kind of thing. So when I first started, I was very lucky that some of the earliest teaching that I was exposed to was about, it was all about direct marketing and direct mail. And frankly, that's the only thing that was available back then, because no one was teaching anything about marketing online or on the internet, because there really was none. No one had a clue. There was just no knowledge base. So I studied a lot of direct marketing stuff. And so typical response rate, what I learned back then, typical response rate might be 1 to 2% if you do some type of direct mail. And that's pretty funny in and of itself, because like the difference between 1% and 2% is just, it's huge. It's a double, right? I mean, if you send out 1,000 pieces and you get a 1% response, you're going to sell 10. If you get a 2% response, you're going to sell 20. You double your business going from 1 to 2%. So it's pretty crazy. It's a pretty big range. But in any case, people wonder, what's a typical response in launches? And I guess it's sort of like that 1 to 2%. It's all over the place. It's impossible to answer. It completely depends on your market and your price and your position in the market and your list and your offer and and how well you make that offer, how your copy. And so there's absolutely nothing typical, but generally I'm looking for better than 1 to 2%. I mean, in niches, you can, especially if you have a smaller list and you have a warm relationship, you can have a way better than 1 to 2%. I mean, to show you the upper end, I actually did a launch once where it was a tiny sliver niche of a tiny sliver niche of it was a great big niche, but it was this like tiny little sliver and then a tiny little sliver. And I just had I had a whole list universe of 300 people. And I had a very warm relationship with those 300 people. And it was sort of like the perfect storm in terms of conversion. So I had these 300 people. And I had a very warm relationship. I was trying to make the most difficult sale ever, which was I had been giving them this service for free, and now I wanted to charge them for it. So there's no harder sale to make than to say, hey, I know you've been getting this for free for like 3 years from me, but now I want to charge you for it. Toughest sale in the world. But besides that, everything else was perfect. It was a community. They were tied into community. They were very much tied into that. They loved me. I'd been supporting them. I had this warm relationship. And I could target since there's only 300 of them and I knew them really, I sort of knew my avatar really well, I could target the message to them really perfectly. And in any case, my response rate was 99%. I got 297 out of 300 to say, yes, I'll buy it from you. So that, I don't think I'm ever going to improve on a 99% response rate. Like I said, it's not typical. It's a perfect storm. If I sort of went out to the broader niche, there's no way I would have had any kind of conversion at all. But it was absolutely a perfect fit. It was essentially like a new list that was carefully curated. So again, there is absolutely nothing typical, but where we will see the best conversion is if you've carefully built a list over some period of time and they have a really warm relationship and they love you and they've just been waiting to buy from you, and now you put together a launch that's perfectly fits for them. So just to throw out some other numbers, and this is completely untypical as well, but in my product launch formula launches, I've typically done about anywhere from $50 per name on my email list up to $100 per name on my email list. Now, generally, it's somewhere in the $75 to $85 per name. So, of course, measuring any of the numbers in one of my launches can get messy because it's a joint venture launch. We've got joint venture partners that are mailing in at all different times into your launch. So some of them are mailing right into the very beginning of your pre-launch, and now these people are on your list right from the start. They join your list right here at PLC 1. Other partners are mailing on PLC 2. Other partners are mailing on your third video. Some of them are mailing into your sales video, some are not. So it's tough to measure. But if you look at it, since my product, I don't want to get too fancy on the math here, but since my product's selling for $2,000, at least right now, unless I've raised the price since you're watching, I've already raised the price. But if it's selling when I was selling it for $2,000, $50 per name is basically 2.5% conversion, right? Because I don't even want to get into the math, but $100 per name would be doing 5% conversion. And I hope I got that math right. I'm going to pull out my calculator after I shoot this video and check it out, but I think I got that right. So, that's the kind of conversion I'm getting on a very high ticket item, but that's because I'm bringing them in. These are the people that are joining my launch list. They're coming in warm because they're generally referred from a joint venture partner. And so there's that endorsement. They give me a strong endorsement. And you can see some really seriously great numbers there. I mean, generating $75, $85 or more per name on your email list is really powerful. Now, if I went out to my entire, my list is well over 100,000 people now. So let's just add another, here we'll go, add another 0 in there. My list is well over 100,000 people. But if I go and I mail that list directly, I am not going to get that $75 per name. I'm not even going to get the $50 per name because they've been on my list for a while. They've seen my stuff for a while. They're sick of me, right? That's how lists, they just stop paying attention to you as closely. So when I'm talking about that $50, $75, $100 per name, it's the launch list. It's people that have just come onto my list, are newly exposed to me, whether they came from my old list or whether they came from my partner's list. So one of the things that's important here is that, like I just threw all kinds of different numbers at you, from 99% conversion to doing $75 per name. It all varies by so many different factors. I mean, the three biggest factors is your offer, the copy for your offer, so how great your pre-launch is, and the list. And what the thing is with a launch list, you're creating a great list. So you get that piece out of the way, and then it just comes down to your offer and your copy. And the better, this is a key piece, this is really, really important. The better your math is, the better your conversions, the more money you make for each person on your list, the better off you do, because that makes all the math work better. Like if I can get $50, let's just say, again, to make the math easy, and I have had a few launches that were over $100 per name. Let's just say on average, or let's just say I do a launch where I do generate $100 per name on my list. Okay. Now, let's say I have partners and I'm asking those partners to mail into my pre-launch. And if I'm giving them, say, a 50% conversion, that means, 50% of that is $50. Okay? So that means that for everyone on average, and this is always, you have to deal in averages, for everyone who joins if my partner sends someone into my squeeze page, and they join my launch list, for every person that goes through that, it's going to be worth $100 in sales, and they're going to make $50 in commissions. And that can be super, super attractive. And at the end of the day, if you're looking for partners, or if you're spending money on advertising, the better your conversion, which is driven by your sideways sales letter, the more money you can spend on advertising or partners. It just makes the whole business a lot easier. So that's why the sales letter is strategically, or the sideways sales letter is strategically so important. And that's why this launch list is so important, because once you get people onto a launch list and take them through that sequence, they're incredibly valuable. And because of that value, it gives you a huge amount of flexibility within your business. And this is getting a little bit advanced, sort of on that super, business building, business launch formula end, but I just sort of wanted to get you exposed to this, because making your math work right gives you huge power on the long term in your business.